But let's get on to this next game, which is the SEC clash we're going to cover. As number 17 Alabama travels to number 5 Georgia. Georgia's favored by 3.5. It's a huge one for Kalen DeBoer. It's a huge one for Kirby Smart. Thoughts on this game? Key points, guys.
Man, yeah, this is a huge game because Georgia has struggled against Alabama. They have lost 9 of the last 10. So Alabama has kind of dominated this rivalry, this matchup. I'll call it a matchup. Rivalry, would you agree that's the right word at this point, given kind of the high-profile matchups they've had?
Can I call it like a modern rivalry, or is that like a cop-out?
We'll stick with matchup. We aren't going to debate the
okay.
the
I don't think it's a rivalry.
Things. Yeah, that's fair. They dominated the matchup as of recently. And another interesting thing is this is a huge game for Georgia. It's the first time they've hosted the game in Athens since 2015. They've had 4 matchups in Atlanta, 2 in Tuscaloosa, which some people were up in arms about that. That's influenced by the COVID year where everything got thrown out of whack. So there was the COVID year, which doesn't really count for anything. And then there was at Tuscaloosa last year, at Athens this year. So now we're back to a home-and-home situation, and then 1 matchup in Indianapolis. So this is like a big opportunity for Georgia. It's like it's the aligning of stars for Georgia to really break the curse. You've lost 9 of the last 10. Now you get it at home for the first time in 10 years after a really unfortunate loss last year where
get owned.
Yeah, you go down big and then storm back in the second half, and then Ryan Williams makes a couple incredible catches, and you end up losing that game. But this is the opportunity Georgia needs with home field advantage for the first time. Alabama is kind of down after the loss at Florida State, and you, as a Georgia fan, you kind of have to hope you can take advantage of that you can score on that defense, Stockton can run, right? I mean, he can move with the ball, so hopefully you can take advantage of that weakness Alabama has shown under Kalen DeBoer, and you can kind of you're not putting the nail in the coffin because Alabama is too good a football program, but it's a big step towards it's ending that curse and kind of setting yourself up. You know, you own Texas, right? You beat them twice last year. And so now the only doubt is the Alabama matchup. If you win this game, it really just puts you at the top. You've owned Tennessee. You've already beat them once. You are the top dog in the SEC. It's kind of undisputable, I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I will say most of those losses were to Nick Saban,
right,
and not Kalen DeBoer. I mean, obviously, I know you know that, but it almost feels like a whole new chapter. And so,
but that's what people thought going into last year, and then Alabama won anyway. And so now it feels like your own one against DeBoer. You've lost 9 of the last 10 against Alabama. It feels like an Alabama curse.
See, to me, it still doesn't. It feels like it's a new chapter, and one game against the coach isn't enough to be it's continuing, if that makes sense. Now,
That's
if you
fair.
lose this one and it's 2 and you've lost at home and you've lost in back-to-back years when Alabama's supposed to be down, then, yeah, it does really feel like, oh, now you have a big Alabama monkey on your back and you got to get it off. And then from Alabama's side, you lose this one, you're 2-2, you've lost your 2 biggest games, and
3 and no, they had a bye. They had a bye this week.
Yeah.
My bad.
You're 2-2.
Both teams coming off a bye.
You've lost your 2 biggest games, and the support, what little support is still there, I think may just end up being gone, which is crazy to say that losing at Georgia will you'll lose the last little bit of support you have, but he's put himself in that spot. This team has put themselves in that spot. That's how I feel. I had Bama winning the national championship, and I've not jumped ship yet. But if they lose this game, it's going to be hard to not because you already have 2 losses. It's just good luck running the table the rest of the way. So I think it's huge in that. But now let's kind of get into the player matchups, X's and O's. And what do you have for us there, JP?
I think there's only one X and O.
Okay.
Quarterbacks.
I was going to try and guess. That's good. That's a good matchup.
It's been the story of this matchup through all the years has been quarterback play. Last year, Milroe outplayed Carson Beck in Tuscaloosa. He threw for 374, ran for 117, and had 4 total touchdowns. Carson Beck threw 3 picks that afternoon, or that evening, I should say. Milroe outplayed Carson Beck in the SEC championship, the previous matchup. Beck had 0 touchdowns. Milroe had 2. The national championship in Indianapolis, Stetson outplayed Bryce Young. Bennett had 2 touchdowns. Young threw 2 picks. The SEC championship, Bryce Young outplayed Stetson. Bryce threw for 420 and Stetson threw 2 picks. The 2020 COVID game, Mac Jones destroyed Stetson Bennett, threw for 420, 4 touchdowns. Stetson threw 3 picks in Tuscaloosa that day. And then the other 2 where Georgia literally lost to the same story twice. First, the national championship and the SEC championship. Jalen Hurts saves the day in the second half. Tua saves the day in the second half. Jake Fromm was outplayed down the stretch by both of them in those 2 games. So for me, whoever plays better at quarterback on Saturday wins this football game. I think that's been kind of the MO of this story. I think running game is potentially a wash with Jim Miller returning. Defensively, they both have the same amount of weapons, but does anyone really know if Gunnar Stockton's going to outplay Ty Simpson or Ty Simpson outplay Gunnar Stockton? No, and I think that's the story.
I love it. If you ask Kirby Smart, I think he'd say Ty Simpson will outplay Gunnar Stockton. Not actually, but he did call Ty Simpson the hottest quarterback in the SEC.
Attractively or physically?
I think he was saying
I
like
think he just meant like he's
hot,
playing really
he's
well
playing
right
really
now.
well.
But he did just say the hottest
I'm just
quarterback in the
double-checking.
SEC. He might have
You
been
never
talking
know.
about attractiveness, which I don't know if I'd agree there. I can't say I've ever really thought about it.
I feel like State's got a good shot at that. Shapen's got the curly golden hair. That helps him out.
Lenora Sellers.
Interesting.
That's true.
Tucker makes a great point. Tim Keenan comes back in the middle of the Alabama defense. Should help their rushing defense.
Yeah.
I disagree with your other point, though, Tucker. A big game DeBoer is a part of it, but also they've lost at Florida State, at Vanderbilt, at Oklahoma. They just don't win. They don't play well on the road. They've been terrible on the road with DeBoer. That's been the story, and this is Georgia's first finally a big game at home. Really, their only big game they've had in the Kirby Smart era has been they've had Notre Dame at home. I'd argue the game with Ole Miss at home was on that stage. Maybe the Tennessee game 3 years ago when Tennessee was ranked higher.
Yeah.
But they really haven't had this kind of moment. Prime time, national television. It's Fowler, Herb Street. They have this moment. I think the crowd is going to be insane in Sanford Stadium. I think it'll play the factor. I think we'll get that version of DeBoer more than we'll get the off the bye week version of DeBoer, because I don't think this is not Brian Kelly's LSU, and it's not last year's Georgia team. I think they're different in those cases. I don't think they'll just lie down and cry.
Well,
Georgia is not, like I said last week. Georgia, or 2 weeks ago, Georgia is not going to beat themselves. You have to go out there and beat them.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I'm going to push back on Sven in the chat a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to. So you
Georgia's rushing or pass rush has really not been up to standard this year at all. It's been kind of average at best. And so I don't think it's just a guarantee that while Bama's O-line didn't look good against FSU, that it's going to get pushed around by this Georgia defensive line that just, once again, has not really impressed so far this season. Jam Miller coming back is also, he's probably Alabama's best pass blocking back. So in terms of a pass pro standpoint, him coming back is huge just for that, let alone his running ability. But I don't think it's just a foregone conclusion that Simpson's going to be running for his life all game.
Yeah.
And if they let him stand back there, he's shown, I know against bad competition, but that he can kind of pick teams apart. He can kind of go through reads. He can find spots in zone.
Yeah, Georgia's got 3 sacks. 3 sacks in 3 games.
Yeah.
That is not, and that's against, actually, I was about to say that's against, I can't even remember who they played off the top of my head.
Marshall, Austin P, and Tennessee.
Thank you, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So 2 lesser opponents and then Tennessee. So that's definitely a concern is can Georgia's edge rushers get to Simpson? I think, if I remember correctly, Georgia's pressures, the majority of Georgia's pressures come after 3 seconds or something. I believe that's what I heard in a podcast this morning. So that'll be a big deal. And then another thing, that's what I was going to talk about, is time of possession. Georgia has dominated the time of possession through their first 3 games due to their run game, 60%. So that's a big deal. Can they, do you think they'll try and use that, or do you expect them to try and use Stockton and then wide receiver Zachariah Branch and then the other guy you talked about, JP?
London Humphreys.
Yes.
I think they'll do whatever the hell they want. Honestly, I don't think.
As in, Alabama won't be able to stop anything.
I don't think. No. Alabama will be able to stop some things, but I don't think their game plan is going to be limited. I think they earned a ton of confidence from the Tennessee game. Now your only pushback on that is that Mike Bobo is still calling plays, and so the haters have been quiet for 2 weeks because Gunnar Stockton cooked at Tennessee, but that very well could change.
They're waiting. They have tweets in the draft.
By halftime, that could change immediately.
First quarter. First drive.
Yeah, how that feels in the fan base. But
first play is a bad play. Immediately, everything's posted.
I think they'll play a lot more free and do whatever the hell they want. I honestly think they'll try to stretch the field. I think they'll run the ball really well. I think they'll run Gunnar Stockton more. I don't think Kirby's going to look across the sideline and look at that Alabama defense with what Florida State did and think, oh, they're going to be able to shut us down in ways. I think they're going to go out there and try and do whatever they want. So now the onus is on Alabama's defense to prove what everyone thought they were in the preseason, which was elite.
Agreed.
So I don't think they'll hold back. And Gunnar, I think, will play with a ton of confidence as well.
As he should. All right, let's pick this game. UGA is favored by 3.5. Sanders, I'm gonna make you go first again, so you can't snipe any of us in the pick'em.
I've only done that for one game, and it was
too late. Too late. You're going first for the rest
Georgia.
of the pod.
I'm picking Georgia to
You're
cover.
picking
That's
Georgia
for the
to
rest
cover.
of the pod.
For the rest of this episode.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Georgia to cover.
The line just moved again.
Okay.
What's it at now?
It's officially Georgia minus 2.5.
Okay, 2.5. So that probably makes you feel even better.
Yeah, that makes you feel. I mean, I would have picked Georgia. I've got Georgia winning this probably a touchdown. I feel very good about Georgia going into this matchup.
Are you sure?
2.5. Yes.
You've already changed that much in a year?
We don't
That's a
have to
good
get
point.
into the extenuating circumstances that led to me externally cheering for Alabama, internally cheering for Georgia a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I said roll Tide. I will have to live with that until the day that I die. Jack sent a screenshot. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a great
It
one.
is me and my ex-girlfriend. I'm wearing an Alabama polo that I borrowed from her brother. I went to the game with her family, and I said roll Tide because I think that I felt that I had to say roll Tide because I feel like I was pretty clearly enjoying Georgia's comeback. And
Oh, dude, you can't care about that.
no, you can when her parents paid for your ticket or gave you a ticket.
What
that
were
was
they
worth,
done? He kicked you out?
Her dad is big enough. He might just throw me off the upper deck. I don't know.
Well, then that would have been kind of fire. You could have gone down back in your team.
I'll say, speaking from experience, I don't care about poo-pooing on Alabama in front of my girlfriend's parents.
Well, I'm very happy that you feel comfortable doing it. Okay, but imagine Chomps. He would never be able to do something around his fiance, right?
Do you think he's ever said roll Tide?
That's a good question.
Actually, that's a great question. I need.
Can we get a text to Chomps?
I'm
real quick?
gonna text in. He probably is. He has yapping muted. I'm gonna text him right now.
Yeah, don't ask him in yapping.
I bet he has.
Yeah, he probably has.
Yeah.
Okay, so you picked Georgia to cover
Yes.
the 2.5. Our graphics wrong because it just moved.
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
literally
update
just
the
moved
sheet.
in the past 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Update the sheet, Georgia.
Tucker
2.5.
talks of.
I
Oh, you already
updated
got
it.
preach.
Tucker talks of what kind of feels like a legend at this point. That is Big Game DeBoer. We came to know it really well at Washington. Their big wins over Oregon. Their semifinal win against Texas. Even earlier last season, even though it feels so long ago, their win against Georgia. And I may be foolish, but I still believe in that guy. This is my last ride with Kalen DeBoer. I believe in the talent on defense. I believe in Ty Simpson. I believe in Jeremy Bernard, and I believe in Ryan Williams. I honestly think I believe in Jeremy Bernard more than Ryan Williams because he's a dog. Give me Alabama to win. To kind of make a big statement, show that Kalen DeBoer's Alabama can win on the road, that they're for real, that the Florida State game was a fluke, They've kind of circled the wagons, righted the ship internally, and they're ready to just win football game after football game after football game down the stretch. And it starts here.
So that makes
Give me Bama.
2 games that Jack has picked differently than the two of us.
Yeah, I'm taking Georgia minus 2.5. That's now, that was already. That's when I bet it. It was 2.5. It's one of my best bets of the week. Georgia minus 2.5. That's I like Georgia in this game a ton. Not by a ton, but I like them in this game a ton. I just think it really fits well for them and Kirby, and off a bye too. Like if it was the week after the Tennessee game, maybe you're in a different story. But they had a week to reset and enjoy that Tennessee win, but now get refocused for the Alabama game. And I think they're going to be ready to go. I think that crowd's going to be amazing. Although that stadium is not really that great, the environment will be good enough on Saturday night to win them that game against Ty Simpson and the Tide. Give me the Dogs, minus 2.5.